Alexander Harrington, the billionaire, walked in early and froze at what he saw in his house. Ethan, his son, was on the stairs. His face had marks on it, and Sophia was kneeling one step below him, signing with her hands like she was trying to calm a storm no one else could see. Alexander's voice cut through the room. "Sophia, stand up. Step away from my son. Now." Sophia stood at once, hands up where he could see them. "Mr. Harrington, I am not hurting him." Alexander pointed at Ethan. "Then explain why my boy looks like this and why you're down there with him like you're hiding something." Ethan tried to speak, but his words came out small. "Dad." Alexander did not look away from Sophia. "You talk. What happened?" Sophia's voice stayed steady. "He got hurt at school. He came home scared. He begged me not to call you yet." Alexander snapped. "Begged you not to call me? You agreed to that?" Sophia nodded. "I did and I was wrong. But listen, he was not begging because he wanted to hide trouble. He was begging because he was trying to fix it." Alexander laughed once, sharp and bitter. "Fix it? He is 7. Ethan's hands moved slow and shaky like he was practicing something. And Sophia quietly signed back, helping him finish. Alexander's eyes narrowed. "What is that? What are you two doing?" Sophia answered. "Sign language, sir." Alexander stared. "Sign language? For what?" Ethan finally pushed the words out. "For Lucas." Alexander's mouth tightened. "Lucas who?" Ethan swallowed. "Lucas Ramirez. He can't hear. Nobody talks to him. He sits alone. And when he got mad, he pushed me and I fell." Alexander took one step forward, voice rising again. "So, you're telling me my son got hurt and your plan was to teach him signs instead of calling me?" Sophia's tone changed. "Not my plan. His plan," Ethan said. "I don't want him kicked out, Dad." Alexander turned on his son. "What did you just say?" Ethan's eyes filled. "They always kick him out. He's been to other schools. His mom cries when she thinks nobody is looking." Alexander looked back at Sophia and his anger went colder. "How do you even know that?" Sophia hesitated, then said it. "Because I met her. Because she begged me and because I know what it looks like when a child is trapped in silence." Alexander's jaw locked. "You crossed a line." Sophia nodded. "I did. And if you fire me, I will understand. But if you walk away from this, they will blame Lucas and they will throw him out. And your son will never forgive himself." Alexander's voice dropped low. "Don't you tell me what my son will feel." Ethan spoke louder now. "Dad, I saw him cry and nobody helped him. I'm trying to help him." Alexander opened his mouth. Then the wall phone in the hallway rang loud and sudden. Sophia's face changed the moment she saw the caller ID. Oakwood Academy. Alexander grabbed the phone, still staring at Sophia like she might disappear if he blinked. "Hello." The voice on the other end was firm. "Mr. Harrington, you need to come in tomorrow morning. There was an incident involving your son and Lucas Ramirez and the board is already talking about removal." Ethan grabbed Sophia's sleeve, eyes begging. Alexander heard his son whisper, "Dad, please don't let them send him away. Please." Alexander stood there with a phone in his hand and for the first time he understood the real danger was not what he walked in on. The real danger was what he was about to do next. Stay with me because what Alexander Harrington hears next will make him realize the bruise on his son's face is not the real problem. The real problem is the decision the school is about to make. And the one mistake Alexander makes in anger could destroy 2 boys at once. Alexander Harrington came home early because his last meeting ended fast. He expected a quiet house. Instead, he heard his son's voice on the stairs. Ethan sat on the third step. His cheek had marks on it, and one side of his face looked sore. Sophia was kneeling one step below him. Her hands moved in slow shapes, and Ethan copied her like he was trying to remember something important. Alexander's bag slipped from his hand. "Sophia, stand up. Step away from my son. Now," he said. Sophia stood at once, hands raised where he could see them. "Mr. Harrington, I am not hurting him." Alexander pointed at Ethan. "Then explain this. Why does my child look hurt? And why are you down here with him?" Ethan flinched. "Dad." Alexander kept his eyes on Sophia. "Tell me what happened." "He got hurt at school," Sophia said. "He asked me to help him." "Help him?" Alexander snapped. "My son looks like someone hit him. And you did not call me." Ethan shook his head fast. "She didn't do it." Alexander's mouth tightened as he looked at his son. "Then who did and why didn't I know?" Ethan stared down. "I didn't tell you." Alexander blinked. "You didn't tell me. Why?" Ethan's lips shook. "You come home tired and you look sad and I didn't want you to shout." The words made Alexander pause. He looked back at Sophia. "Why were you teaching him whatever that was?" "Sign language, sir," Sophia said. "For what?" Ethan lifted his hands shaky. "For Lucas." "Lucas who?" "Lucas Ramirez," Ethan said. "He can't hear. Nobody talks to him. So he gets mad and he pushed me. I fell into the wall." Alexander's face tightened. "When?" "Last Thursday." Alexander went still. "Days ago. You have been walking around like this and I didn't notice." Ethan shrugged like it didn't matter, but his eyes said it did. Alexander turned to Sophia. "And you knew?" Sophia nodded. "I knew and I should have told you sooner, but Ethan begged me not to." Alexander's voice rose. "That is not your choice to make. You tell the parent." "You are right, sir," Sophia said. Ethan stepped down one stair. "Please don't send her away, Dad." Alexander stared at him. "Why are you protecting her?" "Because she listens," Ethan said. "And because she's helping me do something good." "Good," Alexander repeated. "You got hurt." Ethan shook his head. "I'm trying to help Lucas. If he gets kicked out, it will be my fault." "Your fault?" Alexander said, confused. Sophia spoke carefully. "Mr. Harrington, the school has been trying to remove Lucas. They say he is a problem. They say they don't have what he needs." Alexander's eyes narrowed. "How do you know that?" "I met his mom at pickup," Sophia said. "She saw Ethan practicing. She begged me to tell you if anything happened." The wall phone rang sharp in the quiet. Sophia glanced at the screen. Oakwood Academy. Alexander grabbed the phone. "Hello, Mr. Harrington. This is Principal Hayes," the voice said. "I need you here tomorrow morning at 8:30. There was an incident involving your son and Lucas Ramirez. The board is already discussing removal." Alexander ended the call. His hand stayed on the phone like it could bite. "Removal," he said to himself, like he could not accept the word. Ethan's voice was small. "Dad, please don't let them send him away." Alexander looked at Ethan, then at Sophia. "Tell me what else you both know." "No skipping." Ethan swallowed. "Kids laugh at Lucas. Teachers get mad when he doesn't respond. He sits alone, and when he feels trapped, he pushes things away." Alexander stared at his son. "And you still wanted to help him?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, because he's not bad. He's lonely." Alexander's throat felt tight. He turned to Sophia. Why do you care this much? Sophia answered. Because my brother was deaf and people gave up on him. I watched it happen. I won't watch it again. Ethan whispered. I asked her. Dad, she didn't force me. Alexander stood there letting the truth settle. His son had been hurt and he had carried it alone. Sophia had been the person he ran to. That hurt Alexander in a way he did not want to admit. He took a breath. Sophia, you should have told me about the bruise, but thank you for helping him learn. I came in angry and I was wrong. Sophia's eyes searched his face. Thank you for saying that. Alexander turned to Ethan. Tomorrow you and I will go to Oakwood Academy. We will talk to Principal Hayes and we will tell the truth. Ethan looked up. Hope and fear mixed together. And Lucas. Alexander nodded. I will listen and I will help if I can. Ethan's shoulders dropped a little. Alexander looked at Sophia. Come with us. Sophia's face changed. Mr. Harrington, after today, I don't know if I should stay in this house. Ethan rushed a step closer. Please don't go. Sophia knelt so she was level with him. I don't want to leave you, baby, but I can't stay where I'm seen as danger. Alexander felt shame burn in his chest. He said quietly, I can't take back what I said. But I can change what I do next. Sophia stood. I will think about tomorrow, she said. But tonight, I need space. She walked toward the small room near the kitchen. Ethan watched her like he was afraid she would vanish if he blinked. Alexander sat on the bottom step. I'm here, he said. I should have been here. Ethan leaned into his side. Just a little down the hall, a zipper sound cut through the silence. Alexander stared toward Sophia's door and understood the cliff. If she left before morning, he would face the school alone, and he would not know how to protect his son and still do the right thing. Alexander sat on the bottom step until the house went quiet. From the small room near the kitchen, he heard a suitcase zipper. Sophia was leaving. He knocked on her door. Sophia, it's Alexander. She opened it a little. The suitcase sat packed on the bed. I was wrong, Alexander said. I walked in. I saw Ethan's face and I accused you. Sophia's voice stayed even. You were scared for your son, but you judged me. Alexander nodded. Ethan told me he hid the bruise because he thinks I'm always tired, always sad, and quick to get angry. Hearing that hurt more than seeing the bruise. Sophia's eyes softened. He loves you, she said. But he is lonely. Alexander's voice went low. Since my wife died, I hid inside work. I called it providing, but it was running away. I did not notice my own child was carrying pain. Sophia looked down at her hands. My little brother, Marcus, was deaf, she said. People treated him like he was bad when he was just shut out. When Ethan asked me to teach him signs, I saw a child trying to do what adults refuse to do. Try. Alexander swallowed. Tell me what you need if you stay. Sophia answered without raising her voice. You show up for Ethan every day. You speak with respect, even when you are upset. You stop using money to escape your child. You also trust me fully because I cannot work with fear hanging over my head. Alexander said, I will do that. Sophia studied him. Actions will prove it, she said. Come tomorrow, Alexander said. Oakwood is talking about removing Lucas. I need help to do this right. Sophia took a slow breath. I will come for Ethan and for Lucas, she said. If you turn this into a show, I walk away. Alexander nodded. Fair. On the stairs, Ethan was sitting in his pajamas, eyes wet. Is she leaving? He asked. Alexander sat beside him. She is coming with us tomorrow, he said. She has not promised more yet. That part is on me. Ethan wiped his face. I don't want you to hate Lucas. Alexander pulled him close. I don't hate him, he said. I hate that you got hurt, and I hate that adults let it grow in the dark. Morning came fast. Alexander drove Ethan to Oakwood Academy. Sophia followed in her own car. Ethan kept looking back until the school gates swallowed the road. Principal Hayes met them in the office. A board member, Mr. Caldwell, sat at a table with two teachers. Alexander spoke first. Why was I not called the day Ethan got hurt? Ethan did not report it, Principal Hayes said. Staff noticed bruising yesterday. A week passed. Alexander said, my child walked around hurt and nobody checked on him. Mr. Caldwell folded his hands. Mr. Harrington, Lucas Ramirez has had incidents. We must protect students by removing him. Alexander asked. Principal Hayes hesitated. Lucas is completely deaf and non-verbal, she said. We cannot provide a full-time interpreter. We have asked his mother to consider other options. Sophia spoke calmly. Training costs less than failure. Mr. Caldwell looked at her. And you are Sophia Harris, she said. I work in Mr. Harrington's home and I have experience with deaf children. Mr. Caldwell raised his eyebrows. The housekeeper is advising the school. Alexander kept his tone flat. She is the reason my 7-year-old learned basic signs in 3 days. He said, if a child can try, adults can try, too. One teacher said, we have classrooms full of kids. Sophia answered, a few signs can stop fights before they start. The door opened. A woman in a work uniform stepped in, shoulders tense. Principal Hayes stood. Mrs. Ramirez, thank you for coming. Mrs. Ramirez looked at Ethan, then said, I'm sorry he got hurt. My son didn't mean it. He doesn't know how to make things right. Ethan signed slowly, friend. Mrs. Ramirez covered her mouth. He does that sign at home now, she whispered. Mr. Caldwell tapped his pen. Mrs. Ramirez, we have discussed alternative placements. Mrs. Ramirez's voice shook. You mean you want him gone? She said. He's been to 4 schools. Every time people call him dangerous instead of calling him what he is, a child who can't hear you. Alexander asked, where is Lucas right now? In the resource room, Principal Hayes said, separated during morning activities. Separated, Alexander repeated. And you wonder why he explodes. Mr. Caldwell said, we need solutions, Mr. Harrington. Alexander stood. I have one, he said. I will pay for interpreter support and staff training as long as Lucas stays. Sophia will lead the training. Principal Hayes blinked. That is not how this works. It can, Alexander said. You have money problems, I can cover that. You have effort problems, you will fix that. Mr. Caldwell leaned back. And if the board says no? Alexander's voice stayed calm. Then I pull my son out, he said. And I tell other parents why. Principal Hayes's phone buzzed. She read the screen, then looked up. The board meets at 3 o'clock today, she said. The recommendation for removal is already written. Mrs. Ramirez covered her face. Ethan whispered, Dad, please. Alexander stood. We see Lucas now, he said. They left the office and walked down a quiet hallway. The laughter from other rooms sounded far away. At the last door, Principal Hayes paused and unlocked it. Lucas sat alone at a table, drawing hard lines on paper. When he saw strangers, His shoulders rose and his eyes turned guarded. Sophia stepped forward, not rushing him. She signed, "Hello, friend." Lucas stared. Then his hands moved back, unsure, but trying. Mrs. Ramirez began to cry again, not loud, just tired. Ethan copied the sign for friend, and Lucas's face softened for 1 second. Alexander checked the clock. 3 o'clock was near. Lucas could be removed. Lucas sat alone in the resource room, drawing hard lines like he was trying to block the world out. When Sophia signed, "Hello, friend," his pencil stopped. He looked up guarded. Ethan sat beside him and signed, "Friend." Lucas pointed at Ethan's cheek, then signed fast. "He is asking if you are hurt, Mrs. Ramirez said. Ethan signed, "I am okay, not mad." Lucas stared, then looked down. He pushed his drawing toward Sophia. 2 boys held hands and a woman stood between them. The woman had dark skin and a smile. "He drew you again, Mrs. Ramirez whispered. Sophia signed, "Thank you." Then signed, "You are safe." Principal Hayes checked the time. "The board meeting starts in 10 minutes, she said. Mrs. Ramirez signed to Lucas. "We have to go." Lucas's hands moved in panic. "He is asking if they will send him away," Mrs. Ramirez said, voice breaking. Sophia signed back, "No, we will speak for you." Alexander watched this and felt small. He had built his life around control, but he could not control what silence did to a child. In the meeting room, parents packed the seats. The board chair, Ms. Whitaker, stood at the front. "We are here about student safety," she said. "Lucas Ramirez has had incidents. The recommendation is removal." A father stood up. "My daughter is scared. He said that boy hurts kids." Mrs. Ramirez rose halfway, shaking, but Alexander stood first. "My son was pushed." Alexander said he has marks on his face. "I was angry and I wanted someone blamed. Then I learned Lucas is deaf and non-verbal. He does not understand most of what happens around him and the school does not speak his language." Ms. Whitaker said, "Mr. Harrington, we do not have resources for a full-time interpreter." "Then I will fund it," Alexander replied. "Interpreter support, staff training, and tools." "But Lucas stays." A board member frowned. "Why should we trust this will work?" "Because we have not tried," Alexander said. "We have punished first and called it safety." Ms. Whitaker looked toward Sophia. "And who will train staff?" "Sophia Harris," Alexander said. "She has experience." A few parents muttered. "The housekeeper." Sophia stood. "I am not here for a title," she said. "I am here because Lucas reacts when he is trapped. When someone communicates with him, he calms. This is not a miracle. It is basic effort." A parent shouted. "Then his mother should handle him." Mrs. Ramirez stood fully. "I work nights," she said. "I beg for help and I get told to leave. My son is not a problem to remove. He is a child." Ms. Whitaker asked, "Mr. Harrington, is this offer real?" "Yes," Alexander said. "And if you remove Lucas, I will pull my son from this school and I will tell every parent why." The room went loud, then quiet. Ms. Whitaker looked at Ethan. "Ethan Harrington, do you want to speak?" Ethan stood up, small but steady. "Lucas pushed me." "Yes," he said. "I got hurt. But he is not bad. He is alone. Friends do not give up on each other." Ethan turned to Lucas and signed. "Slow and careful friend forever." Lucas's head lifted. Tears ran down his cheeks. He signed back, shaky. Mrs. Ramirez translated. He said, "Thank you, Ms. Whitaker swallowed. "The board will vote." Hands rose around the table, one after another. "Lucas Ramirez will remain enrolled," Ms. Whitaker said. "Support services will be added, funded by Mr. Harrington. Training starts this week." Mrs. Ramirez covered her face and cried. Lucas leaned into her, not fighting, just holding on. After the meeting, Principal Hayes stepped to Alexander. "We will need paperwork today," she said. "You will have it," Alexander answered. Ethan tugged Alexander's hand. "Dad." He stayed. Alexander knelt and kissed Ethan's forehead. "Because you cared," he said. Ethan looked at Sophia. "Are you staying too?" Sophia's eyes went to Alexander, then away. Alexander felt fear because he knew one good act could not erase the way he accused her. Alexander said, "Come home with us. Please stay tonight. Let me show you. I mean it." Sophia looked at Ethan, then nodded once. "Tonight?" "Yes," she said. Alexander thanked her quietly, but he also understood. Tonight was only one night, and the real test was still waiting inside his house. Outside the building, Mrs. Ramirez held Lucas's hand like she was afraid the school might still take him. Lucas looked at Alexander, then signed, "Working man." Mrs. Ramirez translated, "He is asking if you are the one who is always working." Alexander nodded ashamed. He looked at Sophia. "Help me answer," he said. Sophia signed for him while he spoke. "Yes, I work too much. I miss things. I am changing now." Lucas stared then signed again. "Come back. He wants you to come back," Sophia translated. Alexander answered, "I will come back every Friday and I will learn more signs so I can talk to you myself." Lucas gave a small nod. On the drive home, Ethan stayed awake. "Dad, will you really learn?" he asked. "Yes," Alexander said. Tonight at the house, Ethan walked in first, then stopped. Sophia's suitcase was still near the hall closet, packed and ready. Ethan's voice broke. "Daddy, she is leaving." Sophia stepped inside and froze, too. Alexander understood what that suitcase looked like to a child. A warning. He picked it up fast, carried it into the storage room, and shut the door. Then he came back and knelt in front of Ethan. "She is here," he said. "She is staying tonight." Ethan nodded, but his eyes stayed wet like he was still waiting for someone to change their mind. Sophia set her keys on the table, then looked at Alexander. "Do not say it if you cannot keep it," she said. Alexander held Ethan's hands and answered, "I will keep it if it is hard." Ethan squeezed both their hands, breathing quietly. That night, Alexander did not go back to his office. He stayed in the kitchen with Ethan and Sophia. Alexander placed a notebook on the table. "We learn," he said. "Not tomorrow. Tonight." Ethan nodded. Sophia pulled a chair closer. "Start with simple signs," Sophia said. "Hello, friend. Thank you. Sorry. Safe." Ethan signed, "Hello," then friend. Alexander copied him slow and stiff. Ethan giggled. "Dad, that one was wrong." Sophia corrected Alexander with a calm voice. "Your fingers are too tight," she said. "Loosen them." Alexander tried again. "Better," Sophia said. Ethan kept showing what he knew. And each time his father tried, even when he failed, Ethan did not feel alone. Alexander's voice went quiet. "Ethan, why did you hide the bruise from me?" Ethan stared at his hands. "Because you get home tired, and you look sad, and I thought if I told you, you would get mad and Sophia would leave." Alexander swallowed. "I don't want you scared of me," he said. Ethan whispered. I'm not scared of you all the time. Just when you talk like you don't care. Alexander nodded once. Then I change how I talk, he said. Starting now. Sophia watched him closely. Words matter, she said. So does what you do after the words. At 9 o'clock, Alexander's phone rang. He looked at the screen. Unknown number. He answered anyway. This is Alexander Harrington. A woman's voice came through, sharp and upset. My name is Karen Mitchell. My daughter is in Ethan's class. I saw the meeting. You're forcing that school to keep Lucas Ramirez. Alexander kept his tone even. Lucas is staying. He said the board voted. Karen said, my child is scared. If your project goes wrong, it's on you. Alexander said, safety matters, but so does fairness. Lucas is deaf. The school never tried to speak his language. Karen scoffed. Then take him somewhere else. Alexander answered, or we fix what is broken where it is. Karen hung up. Alexander set the phone down. Ethan had heard every word. His shoulders were tight. They're still going to send him away, Ethan said. No, Alexander said, but people will keep pushing. That is why we show up again and again. Sophia nodded. When adults get embarrassed, they can become mean, she said. They will look for a new excuse. Alexander looked at her. That excuse could be you. Sophia did not deny it. I won't let a child pay for it, she said. Ethan asked, are you leaving? Sophia's face softened. Not tonight, baby, she said. Go brush your teeth, then bed. Ethan walked away, but he kept looking back. When Ethan was upstairs, Alexander found Sophia by the small storage room. His hand went to the suitcase he had moved earlier. I put it here so he wouldn't see it, Alexander said. Sophia looked at the suitcase. The problem is that it exists because you made me feel unsafe here, she said. Alexander's throat tightened. You're right, he said. I'm sorry. Sophia's eyes stayed steady. I need a safe home for Ethan and respect for me. Alexander nodded. You will have both. Sophia hesitated, then asked, why were you so quick to think the worst? Alexander's shoulders dropped. Because I've been living with fear, he said. Since my wife Emily died, I keep thinking the next bad thing is coming, and I try to control it before it happens. But all I did was hurt the person helping my son. Sophia's voice went quiet. Grief can make people hard, she said. It can also make people honest if they let it. A sound hit the front door. A quick bang, then the latch. Alexander and Sophia both turned. Alexander rushed to the entryway. The front door was open. Ethan was gone. Alexander ran outside, calling his name. Ethan, stop, come back. Ethan was already near the street, crying, running like he was chasing something he could not hold. A car came around the corner. The horn blasted, tires squealed. The car stopped inches from Ethan. Alexander grabbed Ethan and pulled him back with both arms. Are you hurt? He asked, checking him fast. Ethan shook his head, then sobbed so hard he could barely speak. I thought she was leaving, he cried. I saw the suitcase. I thought if I ran away, she would stay. I thought you would not let her go if you needed her. Alexander dropped to his knees on the road, holding his son tight. No, Ethan, no, he said. You never run into the street again. You hear me? Sophia knelt beside them, breathing rough. Ethan, baby, she said. You don't have to disappear to keep love. I am here. Ethan looked at her with wet eyes. Promise. Sophia looked at Alexander. Her face asked a question without words. Alexander nodded firm. I will not push her out again, he said. I will not speak to her like she is nothing. I will show up for you every day. Sophia took a slow breath. I can promise I am staying tonight, she said. And tomorrow I will go to Oakwood early and start training the staff. If you want this to last, Alexander, you stand beside it. Even when people glare at you. Alexander said, I will be there. They walked back inside together. Ethan, holding both their hands. In the kitchen, Alexander opened the notebook and wrote one short line on the first page. Show up, every day. Ethan pointed at the notebook, then looked up. Dad, will you come to my room every night? He asked. Alexander nodded. Yes, even when work calls. Sophia added, and you will call Mrs. Ramirez so she knows tomorrow is real. Alexander picked up his phone and sent the message right away for Lucas, too. Before night ends, Ethan watched the words, then signed, Friend, Forever. Alexander copied the sign careful and clear. Tomorrow morning, Sophia said, we begin the real fight. Alexander woke before dawn. He did not reach for his phone first. He listened. The house was quiet. From the kitchen came a small sound. A cup sat down. A chair moved. Sophia was awake. Alexander walked in. Sophia stood by the counter making tea. She looked tired but steady. I sent Mrs. Ramirez a message last night. Alexander said. She replied. Sophia answered. She said, thank you. And she said she is scared anyway. Alexander nodded. I understand that kind of fear, he said. Ethan came in, rubbing his eyes. He looked at Sophia, then at his father, checking the air like he was checking weather. Sophia smiled at him. Good morning, she signed. Ethan signed back. Good morning. Alexander tried too. Ethan watched, then nodded like he approved. After breakfast, Alexander drove Ethan to Oakwood Academy. Sophia met them at the entrance. Mrs. Ramirez was already there holding Lucas's hand. Lucas's shoulders were tight. His eyes flicked around like he expected someone to grab him. Sophia stepped close and signed, safe here. Lucas stared at her hands, then breathed out a little. He signed back, friend. Ethan signed friend back, then pointed at Alexander. Lucas looked at Alexander and signed, working man. Alexander's throat tightened. He signed slowly, learning from the night before. Sorry, late changing. Mrs. Ramirez watched the exchange and covered her mouth. She did not say anything, but her face showed relief and shock. Principal Hayes met them in the hallway. We have a training room ready, she said. Some teachers agreed to come early. Others are not happy. Alexander said they will come once they see it works. In the training room, Sophia stood in front of 10 staff members. Some looked curious, some looked annoyed. One older teacher, Mr. Hargrove, crossed his arms. So, we are learning hand motions now, he said. Because a billionaire wants it. Alexander stayed quiet. He did not want to steal the room. This was Sophia's space. Sophia looked at Mr. Hargrove. This is not for me, she said. It is for a child who is tired of being punished for not hearing you. Mr. Hargrove scoffed. We do our best. Sophia answered. Your best is not enough if it leaves a child alone all day. A younger teacher, Ms. Ellis, raised her hand. What do we start with? Sophia smiled gently. Start with respect, she said. Then hello. Sit. Wait. Stop. Hurt. Safe. Bathroom. Water. Friend. She taught them slowly, step by step. No shame, no pressure. When someone struggled, she corrected them with patience. When someone laughed at their own mistake, she laughed softly, too. Alexander watched and realized something. Sophia was not only teaching signs. She was teaching adults how to calm down and try. During a break, Principal Hayes pulled Alexander aside. There is pushback from a few parents, she said. One is calling the district office. Alexander nodded. Let them call, he said. I will speak to anyone. Lucas stays. In the hallway, a woman in a blazer approached fast. Her face was tight. Karen Mitchell. Mr. Harrington, she said, you are turning this school into an experiment. Alexander kept his voice calm. We are turning it into a school that can handle difference, he said. Karen pointed down the hall. My daughter said Lucas stared at her today like he was angry. Sophia stepped beside Alexander. He stares because he reads faces, she said. He cannot hear tone, so he looks hard. It can feel scary, but it is not a threat. Karen looked at Sophia. And you are the maid? Sophia answered, yes, I clean Mr. Harrington's home, and I also know sign language because my brother was deaf, and I watched him get pushed aside until he believed he was not worth effort. Karen's mouth opened, then closed. Alexander said, if your child was the one left out, you would want someone to try. Karen held her purse strap, then said, I just want my child safe. Alexander nodded. So do I, he said. That is why we are doing this. Karen walked away without another word. By lunchtime, Sophia went to the cafeteria with Ethan and Mrs. Ramirez. Lucas stood near a wall, tray in his hands, eyes on the floor. A few kids watched him and whispered. Ethan walked up and signed, sit with me. Lucas hesitated. He looked at Mrs. Ramirez like he was asking permission. Mrs. Ramirez signed. Yes. Go. Lucas walked with Ethan to a table. A boy from Ethan's class sat there. Then a girl. One by one, 3 more children came closer. Curious. Ethan signed to them, hello, friend. Sophia watched from a distance. Mrs. Ramirez stood beside her, holding her breath. A teacher nearby signed, sit, and pointed to an empty seat for Lucas. Using the new sign, Lucas's shoulders dropped. He sat. He did not smile big, but his face softened. That was enough. After school, Principal Hayes called Alexander into the office. The district wants a formal plan. She said they want timelines and a statement. Alexander said, we make one and we make it public so other schools can copy it. Principal Hayes blinked. You want others to use it? Alexander nodded. This cannot be a one-time rescue, he said. It must become normal. That evening, back at the house, Ethan ran inside, then stopped and stared at the storage room door. Alexander walked to it and opened it. The suitcase sat inside. He lifted it, carried it into Sophia's room, and put it in the closet, empty. Then he came back and knelt in front of Ethan. She is not leaving, he said. We are not playing that fear game again. Ethan's eyes filled, but he did not cry. He nodded and hugged his father. It was a long hug, the kind that says, please don't go back to the old way. Later, Mrs. Ramirez arrived with Lucas for dinner. Lucas stood at the doorway. Unsure. Ethan pulled his hand gently and led him in. Sophia signed welcome. Alexander signed, welcome, too. Then spoke with his voice, welcome, Lucas. Lucas looked up at him and signed, home. Sophia translated. He said, home. Mrs. Ramirez put a hand over her chest. She looked like she might fall apart, but she stayed standing because mothers like her have to. During dinner, Lucas signed more than anyone expected. Simple things. Food good. Ethan funny. Sophia friend. When he got stuck, he tapped the table instead of pushing. Ethan waited. Sophia helped with one sign, then let Lucas finish. After they left, Alexander sat with Sophia in the kitchen. Ethan was upstairs asleep. Alexander said, "I spent years thinking grief meant staying busy so I could survive. All it did was make my son feel alone." Sophia nodded. "Grief can make people close their hands," she said. "Healing opens them again." Alexander looked at his hands on the table. "I will keep opening mine," he said. Sophia's eyes were tired, but softer now. "Then I will stay," she said. "Not because you are rich, but because you are trying, and because Ethan needs steady love, and because Lucas needs a world that does not throw him away." Alexander nodded. "We keep going," he said. Upstairs, Ethan woke once and padded to the top of the stairs. He saw the kitchen light and heard voices, calm and safe. He smiled, then went back to bed. For the first time in a long time, the house felt like a home. Not a place people passed through, but a place people stayed. As the weeks passed, Alexander made good on his promises. He reduced his work hours, delegating more to his team at the company. Every evening, he joined Ethan and Sophia for sign language lessons, turning it into a family ritual. They practiced over dinner, laughing at mistakes and celebrating small victories. Ethan beamed with pride as his father improved, and Lucas often joined them via video calls arranged with Mrs. Ramirez. At Oakwood Academy, the changes were gradual but noticeable. Teachers incorporated basic signs into daily routines, and students began to follow suit. Lucas no longer sat alone. A small group of friends, led by Ethan, included him in games and conversations. There were setbacks, misunderstandings, moments of frustration, but Sophia's training sessions helped everyone navigate them. One day, a month after the board meeting, Principal Hayes called Alexander. "We've received inquiries from other schools," she said. "They want to know how we're implementing this program." Alexander smiled. "Tell them we'll share everything. The plan is working." But challenges persisted. Karen Mitchell organized a parent group opposing the changes, claiming it distracted from core education. They petitioned the district, but Alexander countered with data. Incidents decreased, student engagement rose, and Lucas's academic performance improved. In a heated town hall, Alexander stood firm. "This isn't about one child," he said. "It's about creating a community where every child belongs." Sophia, now respected as the program's coordinator, spoke eloquently about inclusion. Her words swayed many, and the opposition dwindled. At home, the bond between Alexander, Ethan, and Sophia deepened. One evening, as they sat in the living room, Ethan signed a full sentence, "I love you both." Alexander's eyes welled up. He signed back, "I love you too, son." Sophia joined in, her sign fluid and warm. The suitcase remained in the closet, a reminder of how close they came to losing each other. Mrs. Ramirez and Lucas became regular visitors, their families intertwining. Alexander funded scholarships for deaf education, expanding the impact beyond Oakwood. Years later, as Ethan graduated high school, fluent in sign language and advocating for accessibility, Alexander reflected on that fateful day. What started as a moment of anger became a journey of redemption. He turned to Sophia, now his partner in life as well as in raising Ethan. "Thank you for staying," he whispered. She smiled. "Thank you for changing." Together, they watched Ethan and Lucas, best friends, sign excitedly about their future. The silence that once trapped them had been broken, replaced by understanding and love. Dear viewers, this story is a reminder that sometimes the biggest pain in a child's life is not the bruise on their face. It is the feeling that nobody sees them, nobody listens, and nobody will stay. Alexander had money, a big house, and power. But his son Ethan was still carrying heavy things alone. And Lucas was carrying even more because he lived in a world that judged him without even trying to understand him. Sophia did not save those boys with magic. She saved them with patience, with courage, and with simple love. She showed Ethan that kindness is not weakness. And she showed Alexander that being a father is not only paying bills, it is showing up, speaking with respect, and listening even when it is hard. And Lucas, the boy everyone wanted to remove, only needed one thing: someone to speak to him in a way he could understand so he could finally breathe. If this story touched you, please comment where you are watching from and tell us what you learned from this story. Your words might encourage someone else who feels alone right now. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more stories from us, comment more stories, and you will be the first to get the next emotional stories we post. Now, I want to ask you 3 questions. Answer them in the comments. 1. If you were Alexander, what would you have done the moment you saw Sophia with Ethan on the stairs? 2. Do you think the school was wrong for trying to remove Lucas, or were they just afraid? Be honest. 3. Who did you connect with the most in this story? Ethan, Lucas, Sophia, or Alexander, and why? To extend this narrative further for a longer runtime, let's delve deeper into the characters' backstories and add more scenes. Flashback to Alexander's life before the incident. Alexander Harrington built his empire from nothing, rising through sheer determination after losing his parents young. His marriage to Emily was his anchor, but her sudden death in a car accident 5 years ago shattered him. He threw himself into work, leaving Ethan with nannies. Sophia entered their lives 2 years ago, a former teacher who turned to caregiving after her brother's tragic passing. Marcus, her deaf brother, struggled with isolation and eventually succumbed to depression. This fueled Sophia's passion for advocacy. In the weeks following the board meeting, Alexander faces internal company pressure. A board member questions his reduced involvement. Alexander responds, "My family comes first now." At school, Ethan and Lucas's friendship blossoms. They create a sign language club, teaching peers. One day, a bully mocks Lucas, but Ethan defends him, using signs to include everyone. Sophia organizes community events, inviting families to learn signs. Mrs. Ramirez shares her story, raising Lucas alone after her husband's abandonment. Alexander supports her with job opportunities at his company. A pivotal scene. Alexander visits Emily's grave, signing his regrets and promises. Ethan joins, signing, "Mom would be proud." As months pass, Alexander proposes to Sophia during a family dinner with Lucas and Mrs. Ramirez present. She accepts, signing, "Yes, forever." The story culminates in a school ceremony honoring the inclusion program, with Alexander funding a national initiative. Ethan and Lucas, now inseparable, sign their speeches. The house, once empty, echoes with laughter and signed conversations. This transformation shows that change starts with one step, one sign, one open heart. Continuing the expansion, let's add more detailed daily life scenes. The first training session at school is tense. Mr. Hargrove resists, but Ms. Ellis's enthusiasm spreads. Sophia demonstrates with Lucas, showing immediate results. Parents like Karen initially complain, but after seeing their children engage positively, they relent. Alexander balances work by bringing Ethan to the office, teaching him business while signing. A crisis. Lucas has a meltdown when a fire alarm sounds without visual cues. Sophia advocates for flashing lights, which Alexander funds. Family trips. They visit a deaf cultural center, enriching their understanding. Ethan's birthday party includes signed games, with Lucas as guest of honor. Conflicts arise. Alexander relapses into workaholism during a deal, missing a school event. Ethan confronts him, signing, "You promised." Alexander apologizes, recommits. Sophia's doubt resurfaces, but his actions rebuild trust. Mrs. Ramirez finds love, introducing a new partner who learns signs. The group celebrates holidays together, blending cultures. Years flash forward. Ethan and Lucas in college, studying education and advocacy. Alexander and Sophia, retired, travel, teaching workshops. The legacy endures, inspiring countless families. This story underscores that true wealth is in connections, not currency, and that listening, truly listening, can heal the deepest wounds.